I am Flora Candelaria Tyler, and this is Picacho Middle School. I teach 6th grade language arts, reading and writing, and I am going into my 21st year of teaching. It's fun sharing literature with kids. I love to read, and I think it's important for kids to, first of all, learn how to read and to have an appreciation for reading. What I also believe is that if you want your kids to read, you need to give them that time to read. When they come into my classroom, they come in with so many experiences that I may not have had or ever will have. And it's from that, drawing that language from them to teach them how to write, to teach them how to read, because it is through that written word, especially if it's coming from them, that they learn to appreciate that and to get meaning from it. When I do status of class, I'm going to go to each group. You will share with me exactly how you are going to be using your time today. Focus. How you use your time will determine the amount of homework you end up with. Does that make sense? Are there any questions before I begin status of class? I will begin with this group and work my way around and finish off with Cedric and Veronica. Do not wait for me to go to touch base with you. Get busy. What I would do when I start out the day in my classroom is I have a binder for each block because we have a composition and literature block. I'll give you guys a moment. And I have a binder for each block. Inside that binder, I have individual record sheets with my students' names. I have a record sheet for writing workshop, and I have a record sheet for reading workshop. For reading, I may ask them where they're at with their book. If they have a new book, they give me the title, page number, and this can be done between 5 and 10 minutes each day. And is it still called Legend of the Thing? I might do that standing up and just addressing kids individually, and sometimes I may just go to each group. It's a good way to get them focused and to get me focused. It's a way of documenting what my kids are doing, what I'm doing, and it's great to show to parents and administrators.
Boom! The explosion rocked the ground. Mountains of sand and fire shot up towards the sky, and shockwaves and explosive earthquakes off. I like to read a lot of K.A. Applegate in the Animorphs and Everworld series, but I especially enjoy fantasy and sci-fi. I like reading historical fiction. I read Dinotopia by James Gurney, and that's what I'm presenting tomorrow. Arthur Dennison and his son William, or they call him Will in the book, are shipwrecked on a mysterious island in the Atlantic Ocean. And it turns out that this is a tropical island called Dinotopia, and it's populated by not only dinosaurs but humans too. And they live and interact together. I think I liked Will the best because he has a really active personality, and he likes to sketch, and he likes dinosaurs and flying and stuff like that. So we're kind of alike in that way.
She did send home a learning contract with him each quarter, where he marks down what types of books he's going to read for this quarter and how many. And I think this quarter he's supposed to read a biography, so he's supposed to choose one new type.
The thing that I like is flexibility. No two kids are exactly the same in where they're at, nor do they all learn the same way, and do they produce things the same way. So it's good if you have a teacher who can work around that instead of trying to have a single model or a single way of working with the kids, so that all the kids are treated as if they were exactly the same.
The literature log is a way for the kids when they're reading to reflect on what they're reading. And this is where they're accountable for all the books that they're reading. They have a reading record sheet on the back, but they have to keep a running list of the books that they're reading or abandoning. And this is where they keep page numbers, dates they started, dates they finished. Once a week they need to dialogue to me about what they're reading. Manny.
On Dog Song, I'm on page 145.
Okay, you've been doing some reading. Good, good. This is a good place to look to see what authors they seem to be leaning towards, what genres they seem to like. And right there they can see their growth as a reader, looking at how they responded in August compared to how they're responding in April, and taking them through that reflection.
I've just finished my 7th book. It is called The Outsiders by S.C. Hinton. I have never read any books by this author, but by reading this one, I would probably read more books by her. I think the author is trying to tell us that life at 14 can be rough. It all depends on how you're living and who you're living with.
This 6th grade team, for example, The Outsiders, that's not generally a book 6th graders will be reading. But for some reason, my 6th graders have taken off of that book, and it's like, great, go for it.
Gangs are very dangerous. The author made me feel excited, sad, and he also made me think. I felt excited because I like the kind of books that keep me on the edge of my seat. I felt sad because when Johnny died, everybody had a part of them die as well. Then the author made me think because life can be like this or similar to it.
Monica's response to The Outsiders surprised me because she's a 6th grader. And to read between the lines as far as gangs, this is a reality that the kids are faced with in society today. And I could see those connections being made there with Monica.
It's late, let's go to bed. The thing I like about reading is that, like, if it's a really, really good book that I really like I like thinking about the things they say and trying to picture it in my mind.
I think what we've seen this year is that she's kind of stepped up the kinds of books that she's reading. In the past, she was more of the smaller books that had a lot of pictures in them. But this year, we noticed that she started getting what you might call the chapter books.
If you look at the response sheet, you know, you have a lot, like how did you feel about the characters? Would you like to have one of those characters for a friend? Did this remind you of anything? Getting them to make those, to transfer that into their own lives, make those connections. A lot of times they'll pick up books and there's no connection there, and I think that's why they end up abandoning them, is they can't relate to it. And so it's finding those books that'll help them identify and make sense out of their own world. When you're having kids read, and when you want them to think about what they're reading, they need to become critical of what they're reading and not believe everything they read. And they need to develop opinions, they need to form opinions, but they need to be able to support those opinions. They write about what they're reading, and eventually we move into literary circles where they have an opportunity to dialogue what they're reading and learn to listen to each other and to respect each other's viewpoints, because as a reader you're going to take what you need to take from that book and not necessarily what someone else may have taken. And it's just learning how to respect everybody's opinion. So long as you can support it, you can go back to that passage and say, well, you know, this is what's happening here. You know, how do you see it?
The theme for the story. What is it? It's the theme is like the author is like telling you to not to suspect anything unless you know, or something like that. Because, always be prepared. Yeah, no, not really, because they were suspecting that Dr. Jekyll was like a werewolf sort of human person, and instead it was his daughter. That was it. Oh yeah, it was his daughter. I think it's don't judge anyone. Yeah, or something like that. By the way they look. Don't suspect someone something if you don't know.
Don't judge anyone by the way their appearance is. Yeah, maybe.
That sounds good.
If you were to come to me as a professional, as a colleague, and you wanted to know, you know, I've been teaching for, you know, so many years, and I've been doing it this way. How are you making it work? Because I don't see how you can do that. I would probably encourage you to come into my classroom and observe and interact with the kids and listen to what the kids are saying, because it's through the kids that you'll find out whether it's working or not, because kids will tell you.
The theme is the author's message to the reader, or the moral. I think that Dinatopia's theme is once you've developed a love for something, it's hard to let go of it. I can support this theory through the fact that Arthur and Will grew attached to Dinatopia so much that they couldn't leave it. In the end, they don't go at all. Their desire for the beautiful countryside of Dinatopia is too overwhelming to leave. I wrote a song that I wanted to play for you on my keyboard. It was inspired by this book because the idea of dinosaurs and people living together on a lost island kind of appealed to me, and so I named this music piece The Lost World for trumpet and piano.
This book, The Amazing Days of Abby Hayes' Every Cloud Has a Silver Lining by Ann Mazer, has so much creativity, which I like. It sticks in your head. I remember stuff like characterization, the setting, conflict, point of view. The plot, theme, and foreshadowing is also stuff I recall. I think Ann Mazer is trying to say in this book is do your best and keep trying. That's the theme for this book. To sum it up, most kids do this theme everywhere. If they can't do something, they try and try again. This is a great book. I hope you will read it. If there's anything you remember years after you read this essay, remember this statement: do your best and keep trying.
I'm excited. The kids are excited. And I see what they've done and what they can do. And I think it's important that we expect the best from these kids, and we expect them to deliver, and that your expectations are high, because they can do it. The payoff should be that really good feeling that you get after you've done a good job, and walking away knowing, yeah, I did that.